Well, we have another massive NHL trade that happened early yesterday, and that was a massive trade between the Rangers and the Canucks. J.T. Miller is no longer a member of the Vancouver Canucks. So to all that coming up right now. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here at the Intent Hockey Channel. Before we begin this video, don't forget to like this video and subscribe below. Thank all your support whenever I do without you guys. So if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe button down below and don't forget to comment down in the comment section below so something else gets in today's videos. So we just talked about a trade in a recent video I did, talking about Andrei Kuzmenko going to Philadelphia for a couple of really good pieces in Farabee and Frost. Well, a day later, we saw another big trade, a 6-piece deal between the Vancouver Canucks and the New York Rangers, and the trade is as follows. J.T. Miller, with his full cap hit, was dealt by the Vancouver Canucks to the New York Rangers, along with prospect Jackson Dorrington and young defender Erik Brannstrom. And in exchange, the Canucks acquired Filip Chytil, Victor Mancini, and a 2025 conditional first-round pick. So we'll start off with the Rangers side of things. You know, they've been in on Miller for quite some time. Back when he was in his indefinite leave of absence, there was some speculation, the Rangers wanted to go after Miller. It's popped up a couple of times over the past couple of weeks, Miller and Pedersen, but Miller, when he's been mentioned in the rumor mill, has been mostly linked to the New York Rangers, which was the team he was drafted by all those years ago, and he's going back there. So this could be a really good pickup there for the Rangers. This is the second year for Miller in a 7-year deal with an AAV of $8 million, so that's a pretty good pickup there for the Rangers. He's going to be signed for a long period of time in the New York Rangers organization. It's a pretty good pickup there for New York. The Canucks wound up signing him instead of Horvat. Traded Horvat a couple of years back. Now I traded Miller too, so it kind of makes you wonder, should they have really traded Horvat if this was going to wind up happening with Miller? On top of that, Miller's a former first-round pick of the New York Rangers. He was drafted in 2011 in the first round by the New York Rangers. Was traded early on in his career to Tampa. Tampa had him for a couple of years, then moved him to Vancouver, where he's been over the past handful of seasons, and he's worked out great in Vancouver, especially the last couple of years. Last year, had a career-high 37 goals and 103 points in 81 games for Vancouver after having 32 goals and 82 points in 81 games the year after. So over the past 3 years, he has been over a point per game for Vancouver, which is absolutely phenomenal for the Canucks, and the Rangers are getting a pretty good player. So far this year, he currently has 9 goals and 35 points in 40 games, nowhere near how good he was doing last year, but he's still a really productive player. Even on a little bit of a reduced point total, he's still going to put you up like 70 to 80 points. So like I said, this Rangers core is a little bit aging, so adding another older veteran for a younger piece is not overly great. And in 2 to 3 years time, this Rangers core might be one of the older cores in the league, but I think Miller, who can be put up 100 points, who can be a solid top 6 forward, can play center, can play wing, I think that sort of versatility is something the Rangers really needed in that lineup. So they get Miller, and I think this could be a really good pickup there for the Rangers. Meanwhile, the Rangers also get 2 other pieces from the Canucks in this deal. They get Jackson Dorrington. Dorrington's the left side defenseman who currently has no NHL contract. He was a 6th-round pick back in 2022 of the Vancouver Canucks. Currently has 10 points in 23 NCAA games, so he's playing over in college. I think there's a possibility the Rangers could try and lure him out there, and I think Dorrington eventually might be able to be something of like a solid third-pair defenseman. So something of a little bit of an unknown commodity there for the Rangers. Could be a really good deep prospect, could not be. We'll have to wait and see how he does at the pro level, but that's another interesting pickup there for the Rangers to get Dorrington. And they also get a young player who can help them now for this year, and that is Erik Brannstrom. Brannstrom is 25 years old right now. Is in the final year of a 1-year deal with an AAV of $900,000 and will be an RFA at the end of the current season. He's a solid offensive left shot defenseman. Last couple of years he's been playing over in Ottawa. Last year was his first full season at the NHL level, putting up 20 points in 76 games. Looked pretty good, but the Sens didn't see a fit for him. They let him go as a free agent. Originally went to Colorado, but before the season started, the Avalanche dealt him to the Canucks in order to acquire the LTIR space of Tucker Pullman, and he started out in Vancouver. He started on the AHL. He put up 2 goals and 12 points in 8 AHL games so far this year. Also had 3 goals and 8 points in 28 NHL games this year, so he can be a solid, serviceable third-pair defenseman, putting up between like 15 and 25 points. Not the first-round pick defenseman that a lot of people were expecting him to be when he was drafted by Vegas, but still, I think he could be a really good pickup there for the Rangers. Maybe not long-term, but at least for the short-term to help him for this year. So a couple of interesting pieces. Rangers get a solid top 6 versatile forward in J.T. Miller, who they've been linked to for quite some time. A college defenseman in Jack Dorrington, who might be able to work out eventually as like a third-pair defenseman, and Erik Brannstrom, who could either be at the NHL level or the AHL level and could be a solid, serviceable third-pair defenseman for that team. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens there. Meanwhile, for the Canucks, they also get 3 pieces in this deal. So like we said, it's not overly great for them to move on from Miller. I know a lot of Canucks fans were hoping that Miller and Pettersson could work out whatever indifferences they have, and they could keep both of those guys because those were both really key pieces of that team. But it got to a point where the Canucks weren't able to keep both of them, and they had to make a decision, and they wound up deciding to move Miller. So they get 3 pieces in return. I don't think it's the return that the Canucks fans were hoping for, but it's a decent return. The first piece of this deal is Filip Chytil. Chytil's in the second year of a 4-year deal with AV of $4.437 million. So with this deal, the Canucks actually do save about $3.5 million in cap space, which is really good, given the fact they didn't retain any money on Miller. Chytil's 25 years old. He's going to be a UFA in a couple of years when that contract ends. He's a center, can play wing if necessary. He was a first-round pick, 21st overall back in the 2017 draft. Now, Chytil looks like a good player, and it looks like he could potentially be a really solid second or third line center. His problem has been, it's been hard for him to stay healthy. Last year, only played in 10 games due to injuries and put up 6 assists. Like, he was supposed to be that second, third line center last year for the Rangers. Never got the opportunity because of all of his injury troubles. The year before that, had a career high 45 points in 74 games, which has basically been the most he's been able to play at an NHL level season. So this year, he's once again suffered a couple of injuries, but not as much as last year. He's already playing 41 games with the Rangers this year, putting up 11 goals and 20 points. So he's on pace to hit right around the 20 goal mark, 40 point mark, something similar to what his career high was a couple of years back. So I think he could be a really good fit there in Vancouver. If he can stay healthy and he can maybe grow a little bit more, I think eventually he could be a solid 20-25 goal scorer, 45 to maybe 60 point player. I think that's sort of Chytil's ceiling. So like I said, it's not going to be a really in and out. I think Miller is a much better player at this point in time than Chytil is, but I do think eventually Chytil could be rolling into like a really solid second line center there for the Vancouver Canucks. That's interesting out there. The Canucks also get a young defender in Victor Mancini. Mancini is 22 years old now. He's a right shot defenseman in the first year of a 2-year deal with AV of $870,000. He's been playing over in the NCAA over the past couple of years. Last year, put 4 goals and 10 points in 40 NCAA games, and then gone to 7 games at the AHL level, putting up 3 assists. This year, he's actually been splitting time between the NHL and AHL. He's gone a couple of stints at the NHL level when the Rangers had some injuries. He's been mostly an AHLer though. He's so far has 3 goals and 10 points in 23 AHL games, and also has a goal and 5 points in 15 NHL games. He's a bigger body right shot defenseman who I think eventually could be a really solid third pair defenseman, maybe even a second pair defenseman for the Canucks. So this could be a really good pickup there for the Canucks too. Getting a solid young D prospect who I think eventually Mancini could be a really solid second or third pair defenseman there long term for the Canucks. So he's on the younger side of things, only 22 years old, and he's only going to get better from now. So that's a really good pickup there for the Canucks, and they get a pick. It's a 2025 conditional first round pick. The condition is it's top 13 protected. So if the Rangers pick is anywhere from the 1st overall pick to 13th overall pick in this year's draft, the Rangers will be able to hold on to it and then give the Canucks a unprotected 2026 first round pick. At this point in time, the Rangers pick is in the 10th spot in the draft order, so they would be able to have the option to keep that pick instead of moving on from next year's first round pick. So it's going to be an interesting situation to watch out for. The Canucks could easily flip this pick to another team to try and add to this team. I've heard a couple of reporters say that after this deal, don't be surprised if the Canucks try and flip the first round pick to get some assets back and try and bolster this team even more, especially with the loss of Miller now, whether that's adding someone more down the middle or getting a top 4 defenseman. We're going to have to wait and see on that, but this is an interesting deal. Miller gets his fresh start. The Rangers get a top 6 addition. Also get a couple of decent depth defensemen in Brannstrom and Dorrington. Well, the Canucks get a solid middle 6 center in Chytil, a solid young defender in Mancini, and a first round pick that they could use to draft someone or could potentially move at some point this year to try and have some improvements on their team. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens there. But definitely, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this deal down in the comment section below. So I want to talk for today. Personally, I do think that the Rangers won this deal. I mean, they didn't have to give up any top prospects, didn't have to give up any NHL level forwards besides Chytil, and I think Miller's a much better player at this point in time than Chytil is. Mancini was an AHL player. They gave up a first round pick. Like, honestly, I think the Canucks could have done better than this trade. So I definitely think that the Rangers do win this one. But if Miller doesn't do overly well in New York and Chytil and Mancini start to blossom in Vancouver and they use that first round pick well, maybe the Canucks do win this deal. We'll have to wait and see. But that's my opinion at this point in time. So definitely, after your guys' thoughts on all of that, down in the comment section below. That's what I'm going to talk about for today. Remember to like this video. If you guys don't subscribe below, thank you for all your support. Know to love you guys. So if you haven't already, don't forget the subscribe button down below. Don't forget to comment down in the comment section below so you can also get today's video. Also a blog, talking about news, rumors, analysis, stuff like that. So check that out. Leave a link down in the description below. And kind of see you guys all for the next video. See you guys soon.